This is what we had in the past, but unfortunately we are in a totally different situation at the moment. We face almost no margin, problem with liquidity, negative competition, and so many other problems nowadays. What are the cause of this problem? This table shows steel production in 2010 and present time. In 2000, we produced a sum of less than 800 million tons of steel. In 2010, we produced about 1.5 billion tons of steel, and the present rate is about 1.65 billion tons. The approximate price of billet was about $180 per ton in 2000, about $550 in 2010, and about $319 to $400 at the moment. Considering the payment for the manpower, raw materials, machineries, environmental issues, and other costs in 2000, we had about 40% benefit for each ton of steel. In 2010, it dropped to 25%. Today is a big question mark. What causes this problem? Having a look at this table give us some hints. In 2000, China produced 31 million tons of steel. Chinese steel grew by 600% in 2010 and 700% in 2016. Europeans have had a flat trend, and they produce about 150 million tons per year. Turkey and Iran are the other two examples here. Turkey produced about 12 million tons of steel in 2000, while its present production rate is about 30 million tons. Iran also has tripled production rate and has reached about 18 million tons of steel production present time. Let's see what made it possible for the Iranians to successfully pave the ground for such a progress. As you can see in this slide, Iran enjoys a handful of advantages that are very desirable for steel-making countries. The demand for steel is increasing following the removal of sanctions, and foreign and domestic investors are more interested to invest in housing during a post-sanction area. Iran is a rich country. Iran is a rich country in terms of natural and energy resources, which is one of the main factors for steel producing companies. Iran enjoys numerous fine iron ore mines that can provide Iranian steel industry with companies. Iran enjoys numerous, as you know, Iran is located in the MENA region, Middle East and North of Africa. A location is which the demand for steel is fairly high, both in-house as well as neighboring countries. Also, Iranian steel producers are expanding their plants to increase their production capacity, as well as necessities are available in the country to pull this out. On the way of this huge step from 6 million ton in 2000 toward the 18 million ton in 2016 export had its share of the market. Iranian steel exports have been double compared with last year and reached 1.9 million tons in 2016. About 70% of the semis and finished products have been exported to MENA region as the main market of Iranian export. Besides that, Iran has managed to improve his foothold in market in GCC region as well as UAE and Oman in particular, plus following the Chinese master plan to focus on domestic use of steel, Iran has able to penetrate to market traditionally dominated by China, such as Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia. Here we see a table including the statistic of Iran steel industry in 2000. Iran produced 2.9 million tons of long in 2000. And it raised to approximately 8 million tons in 2015. Usually, and by expanding a steel production project, we reduce import. Flat production from 3 million tons in 2000 grow to 7.8 million tons in 2015. At present, and based on world steel information, Iran is producing about 18 million tons of steel, and it ranks 14th in the world. Country has targeted 55 million tons of steel for 2025, of which 35 million tons will be for domestic consumption, and the rest should be exported. The target seems to be based on optimistic point of view. The reality is that we have considerable resources of raw materials, natural gas, and manpower. We also enjoy a strategic geographical location in the world, and we are expanding our projects, but we have to consider the facts like the steel industry capacity at the present time, environmental issue, infrastructure needs. It is possible to get close that target if about 20 million tons of steel production will be exported. Iran's steel industry comprises of three major producers, which produce more than 70% of country's steel. Mubarak Steel Complex producing flat, and Khuzestan Steel Company producing semi-finished product, and Esfahan Steel Company has the most experienced and the only blast furnace of technology-based steel producer of the country, producing long. The main competition is in long rolling, where there are about 70 mills producing mostly D-bar. I briefly give you some information about ESCO. Esfahan Steel Company is situated in the center of the country. ESCO is the first and biggest manufacturer of construction steel products in Iran. This complex started production in 1971, and its products such as plain and deformed bar, I and H beam, channels and billets, and also byproduct have been exported to Europe, Middle East, and Far East part of Asia. Since 1990, 3 blast furnaces, 4 power plants, 3 coking batteries, mechanization discharging system of incoming raw materials, 3 blast oxygen furnaces, and 4 rolling plants are enabling ESCO to the present production rate of 3.6 million tons per year. After receiving the exemplary exporter title for several years, ESCO is the only steel company which has gained the title of country's supplier exporter in 2014. In order to increase optimization and to save energy, we were able to finish several environmental and water-saving projects in 2015. Countries that ESCO previously had or still has export to are mostly neighboring countries, Europe and Middle East. Our export mostly comprise of bars and beam, but recently slag, tar, and some other byproducts have been added to our basket of export. In post-sanction era, we are coming back to our previous market. We are negotiating to sell all kinds of beam and billet to European potential customers. Nominal capacity of ESCO at the time of establishment was 800,000 tons per year. Expansion project raised to amount to 2.2 million tons in 2009, and our production rate at the moment until the end of 2016 will be close to 3.6 million tons. ESCO next expansion step to reach 5 million tons of crude steel production till 2018. Based on countries intended to expand railway, in 2015, ESCO has signed an agreement with the National Railway Company and has targeted all kinds of rails. Accordingly, the German company of Kottner has been elected and rail production line was designed and installed. This project has been fully accomplished and we have started to produce the rail. Beside rail, we do produce heavy profile, including all kinds of beam. In 2016,
в 2016 году в Иране строительный
and trusted brand in the market. It is end user first choice have ESCO produce products that the price are slightly higher than the products of more than 70% other rolling mill. Mostly ESCO afford its product in Iran mercantile exchange. In this table, you can see ESCO market share based on product. In 2016, ESCO had a 63% of domestic beams, share on 11% of Iranian bar market. As ESCO is the biggest construction steel producer in country and to fulfill our social responsibility, we try to increase our export in order to provide a bigger space in domestic market for all smaller steel companies. The structure of long product of Middle East is shown in this pie chart. From 2012, we do not have much change. For example, in 2015, Iran has produced about 7.2 million tons, which is 46% of long steel in Middle East. The other Middle Eastern, including UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and some other countries, have the other 48% share in Middle East long steel production. But as you can see, this trend is upward for 2016, and we have produced more than 9.5 million tons of long product, which is almost 55% of the Middle East production. Export of semis in MENA in different story. In 2011, Iran has exported 270,000 tons of semis, while in 2016, Iran exported 1,170,000 tons of semis, and amazingly, this amount reached 2.2 million tons in 2016. Esfahan Steel Company, Khuzestan Steel Company, and Hormozgan Steel Company, the main exporters of semis in Iran. Also recently, one of two private companies started to export billets. In recent years, Iran still has new target in production, products variety, and also export destination. As we reduce steel imports, we had expand our exports, and in mid-2016, 71% of Iran steel export was sent to Asian countries, and other 29% was exported to European countries. Main market for Iran steel in Asia are neighboring countries like Iraq, Afghanistan, and Persian Gulf origin, and some CIS and Central Asian countries. In Europe, mostly Spain, Italy, Greece, Portugal, and Belgium are Iran steel customers. If you look at these two pie charts, you observe that 41% of Iran flat steel export was sent to Asian countries, while European countries had another 59%. Flat export is mostly hot and cold coil. 12% of long export was sent to Europe, and the other 88% was exported to Asia, mostly longs, large including beam, D-bar, profile, and pipe. Also, 2015 balloon slab are in our export basket. Finally, to have a clear look at the future, the competition and oversupplies of a steel world, I think a steel producer should move toward merging to be able to compete and go forward. If a government wants to protect a steel industry, they should facilitate merging steel plants. Steel companies should establish a fake NGO to be able to get their rights and cooperate with government and other related sections. Stepping toward the production of quality products is another important target that we have to consider and move toward. Focusing on research and development and preparation of cooperation between universities and the steel industry is another important and helpful factor which will help the long-term success for any company. It is important to train professional marketing teams and gain new markets all over the world. Also, our marketing teams has to define new uses for steel. We have to change our discreetly view and make heroic decisions. We do believe that some overseas investment can keep our share of market in future, and today investment can guarantee our future market share. Thank you very much.